Causing out through the darkest night. Some say love takes a heavy load, helps someone make the burden light, teaches you not to hold too tight. You and I come a long way together. You and I got a long way to go. You don't have to ask me now and then, 'cause I'm already yours. You'll always be mine. Some say love is a fire that grows, bound up when you let it go. Some say love is a choice we make, a holy vow we should never break. Baby, that's just the chance we take. You and I come a long way together. You and I got a long way to go. You don't have to ask me now and then, 'cause I'm already yours. You'll always be mine. You'll always be mine.
What is up, everybody? You know, I always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. First and foremost, guys, I know you get sick and tired of me talking about socks. Let me change your socks. But I know these things aren't cheap, but goddamn, are these socks awesome? Um, these I say the same thing all the time, but it's the truth. I always see in these groups. Sorry, I had to turn up something. I always see in these groups everybody ask about boots, and I get it. I understand why people ask about boots. In the trades in our field, we're on our feet a lot, and I never ever thought about socks until Camel City Mill reached out to me and said, "Hey, Gil, we would love for you to try these socks." And I was like, "Well, okay, whatever. I guess I'll try these socks." I was not expecting much, um, but they're awesome. Like I said in the summertime, these socks, my feet were not wet. They weren't all sweaty when I was running around training people in the summertime. I'd get home and my feet were dry. They didn't smell like Bigfoot's ball sack. And we all know that's a problem. You're working, you're sweating. At least I do. Maybe I'm the only one with stinky feet. I don't know. But and then here in the wintertime, they still keep your feet dry and they keep them warm. Guys, trust me, go try some of these socks. Even if you get a couple just for the week and only wear them to work, or you only wear them for certain days, stuff like that, these socks are well worth it. They have different colors, different cuts. They have high, low, medium, whatever you want. All right. And just for going to check it out, I have a link in the show description. But if you use the discount code, it should be uncensored 10, and you can save 10% on your order. When I worked out this sponsorship, it wasn't about me making money. It was about you guys getting a discount and me getting some free socks. So I hope everybody goes and checks them out. They've been amazing. I love them. I wear them every day to work. And I never thought that I would be a sock enthusiast, but here we are. All right. So with that being said, go check out my friends over at Camel City Mill. Next, who is it? What is it? It is the king of the tool bags. Everybody knows that VETO Pro Pack makes the best tool bags in the business, and it's not even close. I get it; they're a little bit expensive. I know some people that are starting out; they can't afford it. You got to work up to it. I totally understand, but I do believe in you get what you pay for. and VETO is well worth the money. I have being sponsored by them. Obviously, I get a lot of different ones now, but I have bought several in my career, and it's one of the only tool bags I used once they came out. And I've absolutely loved every single one. They have all different types of bags made for every single thing you could think. It doesn't matter whether your HVAC, electrical, plumbing, whatever it is, they have a bag for you. Uh, Little small ones, book bags, ones with wheels, you name it, they got it. These things are waterproof, injection mold base, ergonomic, over molded carry and handle, interior vertical tool storage, and center panel design, removable and interchangeable tool panels. All right. These things, we can go through a whole bunch of stuff, but I mean, you guys are seeing some on the screen. They make everything. Most of you already know about this. If you don't, go check out my friends over at VETO Pro Pack. You can also, if you want to look at these, you can go to True Tech Tools. They sell a bunch of VETO stuff on there, and you can get save 8% on your order by using the discount code Uncensored. Try to get as many discounts for you guys as possible. Or you can go directly to VETO's website and buy them as well, where I am right now. If somebody needs payments, they even offer that on here with Afterpay. So there's different options to help you out, so you're not spending, like this bag right here. You're not spending a $339 all at once, especially going into Christmas season. All right. But if you got somebody you love, tell them this is what you want for Christmas. Get yourself a VETO bag. And also know, if you do buy them from True Tech Tools, you still get the perks of, I don't think there's any going on right now, but if it has, like, you buy this and you get a free bag. If you go through True Tech Tools, as long as it's a reputable dealer, you still get that. You don't have to go through VETO's website. All right. So with that being said, remember, designed by a tradesman for tradesmen, VETO Pro Pack tool bags that work. On to the show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I am your host, Gil KV Jr. Here we are, another Wednesday, another hump day, and another amazing show for you. Just going to be me. I'm rolling solo today, but to be honest, I was kind of happy that nobody was booked, and I wanted to do one where I can just chit chat with people in the that wasn't going to make sense. I can talk to people in the chat and just BS with you guys, especially having to be off for a little bit with everything. Obviously not last week because of the holiday, the day before Thanksgiving. There was just no way. But so I figured this would be good. But before we get on, hello to all of my friends in here. Mr. Jason, yes, I will be at HR, brother. I will be there. So we will definitely see each other. But well, we got a few people in here tonight. Mr. Nasty was in here. What's up, Nasty? Mr. Jason Johnson, what's up, brother? And Mr. HVAC Rookie, what is up, bro? Thank you for being here. Today, nice, a new manometer. Hey, so I wanted to, and please, anybody, if you hop in this and you're watching, please feel free to ask questions. But this episode, I thought about, and I know I've done things talking about, heating basics, and sometimes I get sidetracked when I talk about stuff, but I've been getting a lot of emails, people asking questions. So, damn, I keep feeling like I'm gonna burp. I figured doing a show like this, just answering some basic questions, would be a lot easier for them to watch than me trying to respond to every email. And I know around here it's been cold as hell this last week, and it's cold today. It's been in the 20s, and it's supposed to be like frigid um, going on this week. Yeah, so yeah, at night it's getting down into the 20s. So it's been pretty cold, and then we're supposed to have snow sometime next week. So we're getting hot and heavy into winter around here. I'm not sure where some of you are located, but I know if you're in the Northeast like me, you're probably doing the same thing, unless you're in California or Texas, and you guys have 85-degree weather all year. You son of a bitches. I'm jealous. But yeah. So when it comes, so I've been getting a lot of different questions. So let's just talk about something. Yeah, what's up, Pat? Sorry, man. Your name was at the top. I didn't see you at first when I said "What's up, fellas," and then I wanted to make sure I said "What's up." So thanks for being here, Nasty. I appreciate you, bro. Let me ask this first. To I know there's only a couple of you in here tonight, which is cool. I get it. Um, when you guys first started out, if you especially we're talking about residential and stuff like that, what was one of the biggest problems that you guys had when you were dealing with the heating side? Like, what did you have trouble learning? Was it the sequence of operations? Was it how to use your meter? I'm just curious if you guys had any. Some people found, caught on pretty easy. So I'm curious just to see what issues you guys had in the beginning. I was pretty lucky that I naturally was good with wiring. I don't know why that just clicked for me. Um, and I always wanted to know. So I didn't really have an issue with like anything heating, to be honest. It was more overthinking was my problem when I first started, not wanting to make a mistake and not doing what I preach to people now, that don't be afraid to make a mistake. You can't be walking around with your butthole all tight, because when you're afraid to make a mistake, you're going to make ones that you're not, all the time. Let's see. Trouble figuring that's a good one. That's a good one, Pat. So, for the people that listening to the audio, Nasty HVACR, which is Mr. Pat, said I had trouble figuring out pressure switch faults for some reason. Mr. Jason Johnson says, when I first started, heat pumps were kicking my ass, especially in heating mode. So that's cool. And these guys are masters of their crafts right now. Um, you know, but they're talking about when they started out. So know that we all start out somewhere. So all these people that say day one they knew everything that they were fucking doing, I guarantee they're lying. It's not true. Even though I'm wearing a hat that says Super Tech, there is no such thing. Um, you know, figuratively speaking, if you know what I mean. Um, but yeah, this is the one of the new company hats. Pretty sweet. Uh, those are common issues, and I would say now thinking about it, now that you said that, Pat, I think I had some issues when it came to pressure switches as well, replacing them when technically the pressure switch was doing its job. Mr. Scott, Mr. HVC rookie said some wiring schematics kicked my ass too. I agree. I had that same problem, and I think what helped me is my dad would go to a furnace board and he would literally pull all the wires off, take the door, and say, "Figure it out." I'm like, "Can I have the schematic?" He's like, "You don't know what you're looking at anyway. Figure it out." And I would literally trace wires out, and that's how I learned. And I messed up. I messed up a lot, but I got to the point where I got comfortable, and I thank God every day that my dad did that. On Lennox, 90 percenters, yeah, I would say pressure switches get replaced all the time when they're not bad. So I want to, and guys in the chat, please, as I'm talking about stuff, please pop up any points as I'm talking about what you want to talk about, and I will make sure that I throw that into the audio as well. Um, but when you work on furnaces, I want to start with keep it simple, stupid, and I want to start with the sequence of operations. So one thing that we taught at Beltway when I was there was IPIG, which doesn't get everything, but at least it does the main. So IPIG is going to be inducer, pressure switch, igniter, gas valve. Even though there is technically more steps, that was a good acronym for people to be able to remember the main things. Um, but just so everybody knows, we're going to go over that sequence of operations. So whether it's a 80 or 90%, it's irrelevant. Just one's going to have more, a little bit different. Mr. Zeke, what is up, brother? Um, so the first thing that's going to happen on a gas furnace, whether it's propane, natural gas, talking about that, we're not talking about oil, so I'm not going to get into that. Um, it is going to be your inducer fan is going to run. Okay, the inducer motor, induced draft motor, inducer flue motor. People call it different things. The inducer is going to kick on to blow all of the flue, the stale gas, up and out of the flue pipe. Make sure that we have a negative pressure across our heat exchanger or heat exchangers. The pressure switch is going to be next. The pressure switch's sole job is to make sure that that inducer is working. Okay. Boilers might need to be a whole episode, to be honest. But yes, we need to cover boilers as well. If anybody has boiler questions, please pop them in the chat. Be more than happy to answer those as well. But yeah, so we have the inducer, then we're gonna have the pressure switch. The pressure switch is going to verify as the inducer runs, it's vacuum switch, pressure switch. It's going to pull that switch close, telling the board, hey, the inducer's running. Everything is safe to operate. We can move on to the next step. So what happens is people will see an inducer running and they get a pressure switch code and they just assume the pressure switch is bad. Okay, well, what? Maybe maybe a bird is stuck in the flue pipe. Um, maybe it's something is causing the heat exchangers cracked. Something is causing the pressure switch to go off. So don't always assume just because you get a pressure switch code that that is going to be your problem. Remember, if you are not checking, you're guessing. And as a technician, as a mechanic who masters your craft, we don't guess. We diagnose things. We're not part changers. All right. So make sure to verify that. How can we verify it? Let's go into that real fast before we go on. You can check power to see if, the switch is open or closed by checking continuity. You can tee in your manometer to see if you're getting the inches of water column that is set to close that pressure switch on whatever model of furnace it is. If all that looks good, you can jump the pressure switch out, but you have to let the inducer start, run for a couple of seconds, and then jump it out. All right, because an inducer, the pressure switch cannot be closed when the furnace starts, or you're going to get a code. Some of the new stuff's going to tell you, hey, pressure switch is closed, not supposed to be, and it won't start. All right. So that is some of the common ways to start. If you jump it out and it goes through, okay, then maybe you do have a pressure switch issue. But a lot of people cause pressure switches to go bad. When people do a maintenance, you should be blowing out the hoses, but guys, do not blow on them while that is connected to the pressure switch. All right. Some of them are under an inch of water column. That is not a lot. It's not what you think it would be. So even if you go, you're going to blow the diaphragm out of that thing. All right. So if you're going to clean the hoses out, I also tell people don't do it with water unless you have to, because if water gets in there and you don't get it all out and that happens to get up in the pressure switch, now you just destroyed that pressure switch. So take those hoses off, blow them out. A lot of times I don't put my mouth on it. I just tuck it in my hand and give one of those things, because you do want to make sure they're cleaned out. All right. So inducer, pressure switch. Most furnaces, the next step, it's going to go down through your safeties, your rollouts, your high limit. It's going to make sure that they are all closed. So pretty much think of it as some of the new ones are a little different, but for the most part, it's the same thing for context. The board has a wire. It's going to come out, goes to one safety, then goes over to this one, goes through it, goes to the next one, goes through it, back down to the board and says, okay, 24 volts, all the safeties are closed. Now it's going to go and it's going to start the igniter. You're going to see your hot surface igniter, your HSI, whatever you want to call it. It's going to start to glow. As that starts to glow, Now the board is going to send 24 volts to your gas valve. Okay, your gas valve is going to it's going to start to light up. And remember, wherever your hot surface igniter is, your flame sensor is on the opposite side. I don't care if it's a 40,000 BTU furnace or it's a million thousand. What am I talking about? A million BTU furnace. That's how it always is. Your flame sensor is always on the opposite side of your igniter, and we're going to get into why that is. Your burners are going to go from the hot surface igniter, and it's going to slowly go down, depending on how many burners you have, which that's going to be on the size. The bigger, the more burners you have. It's going to go all the way down. It's going to light up. The hot surface igniter is going to sit in there. It's going to heat up, which we call flame rectification. It's going to heat up. It's going to go back down and tell the board flame went all the way through. Then it's going to do what's called a pre-purge. It's going to fire up for a second. It's going to let that heat exchanger get nice and warm. No, I wish I didn't. I thought about it though, to be honest. I was like, maybe I should eat these now. But no, I didn't eat the gummies. Once it fires up, the fan is not going to start immediately. It's going to let the heat exchanger get nice and warm so that we're not blowing cold air through the customer's home. Once it does that, then it is going to fire up. It's going to fire up. Then the fan is going to go on. Heating process is going, and vice versa is when the thermostat satisfies and the unit's shutting down. A lot of times you'll see the flames go off, but the fan will still run. Okay, that is called a post purge, where it is going to try to get any of the heat that's still on the heat exchanger out. All right. How many millivolts for what? You talking about the for flame rectification? Because if you're checking that, it should be milliamps, not millivolts. So normally millivolts is when you're going to do a yeah, those things suck. The old Honeywell fan limit switches on the old furnaces. And people would set them wrong and mess them up. I would now that we covered that, I'd love to get your guys I can talk about that in a second, rookie. I have no problem covering that. Shit, I forgot what the hell I was gonna say. God damn you, rookie. No, it's totally my fault. What if you have a generator? What do you mean, what if you have a generator? I'm not sure what you mean, buddy. Yeah, the hot service igniters. I teach my guys that I don't really get them to ohm them out, and I'll tell you why. A lot of people are like, "What the fuck, yo? Why don't you let guys ohm them out?" Only because a lot of different. You have to know exactly what type you have, uh, and what the temperature is. So a lot of times when you're checking that resistance, the resistance and temperature have a a hand in hand relationships. Oh, no, you're absolutely right. So even when residential, I'm going to say this too, and Mr. Zeke would know this. You don't see them now, but a lot of the older trains would have 80-volt hot surface igniters, and people would replace them and wonder why it was blowing. Yeah, standing pilot. I'm not covering a lot of that because you don't see it as much. So anybody out there listening, if you don't see some of the questions, Mr. HVAC rookie, my buddy Scott is asking about some of the different systems because not all of them are 24-volt gas valves. So a lot of the new stuff, you cannot have an open flame in any of the new stuff is out. They're all going to be electronic ignition, hot surface igniters are going to glow. But back in the day, you would have a pilot, a flame that was lit 365 days a year, regardless of whether you were using heat or not. And you would have different stuff on your valve. You would have like main valve, pilot valve. You know what I mean? You would have more than just two wires on it, and a lot of people would get confused. And you would have a thermocouple that would have to sit in the flame. That would go bad. You still see it on boilers and stuff like that sometimes. But any new furnace, you're not seeing that. But if you go out and you find a 20-year-old furnace, you might still see it. But to be honest, even 20 years ago, some of those systems that if they're in the 2000s, they were using electronic stuff. So ignition boards. Okay, yeah, we can talk about, ignition boards. So Jason, I still love intermittent ignition. And Mr. Zeke says that for Train, all of their hot surface igniters now are 120 volts, which, yeah, I knew that because the old 80 volts one, if you didn't know, guys would go and replace them and wonder why it's, lasting a week or a couple of days or doing nothing. Um, Even though you're only putting 80 volts to 120 volts, sometimes it would light. What is up? What is up? Fucking ah. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Evening, evening. So please feel free to ask questions. I'll try to cover in, and we got people in here as well, asking, different things. We fucked them up. Yeah. Carrier 3-wire. Yeah. That's been a little bit. I haven't seen one of those in a while. But yeah, with the different types of ignition. So like I said, all the new stuff you're going to see now is going to be hot surface igniter. Sends 120 volts to an igniter. It lights up, the gas blows across of it, creates a spark, and it lights. We went through the standing pilot, like I said before, where it's literally a flame that's sitting there, a pilot all the time, sitting it. You have a thermocouple sitting in there, and it's keeping that thing lit. And then when it calls, it's using that to fire off. And you would have a lot of nuisance calls where the pilot went out. Sometimes it was just something stupid. A lot of times it would be the thermocouple was bad. Because with those things, one thing to know that if your pilot's not lit, the only two things it's going to be is the thermocouple or the gas valve. There's not a lot to go with them. I haven't messed with a lot of new reams, Jason, so I'm not sure. Anybody out there listening in, um, oh, shut up about your commercial, rookie. Jesus Christ. Um, let's see. We had Mr. Jason Johnson said, doesn't Ream still use spark ignition? I don't know, but I don't think so. 2 years ago, I think it was, maybe 3, when some of those furnace laws changed. One of the things was that none of them, we changed the fans, and then none of them it had to be electronic ignition. And I think most of them went to the hot surface igniter style, but I could be wrong, Jason. I don't know that for a fact. I haven't touched a ream in a while, but I want to say that they're hot surface igniters. To be honest with you, um, are they really, rookie? They still use spark ignition? Huh. Okay. For everybody listening to this, so like I told you, the question started. Mr. Jason Johnson said, "Doesn't Ream still use spark ignition?" I don't remember. I don't know. And Mr. Zeke said it was to spread out the electrical load. Huh. Yeah. No, I didn't know that because years ago, my dad was still around. We put a Ream in their house, and it was one of the newer style, like the newer ones, and that was not spark ignition, though. I almost wanna say it wasn't, but I could be wrong. Mr. Randy had a question. "Hey, Gil, stupid question. No such thing as a stupid question, Randy. What was the purpose of sequencers on old electric heating systems? Because I know nowadays they don't have them." Well, actually, some still use sequencers. So sequencers are exactly what it sounds like. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Zeke, that's what Zeke was talking about. Okay, makes sense, makes sense. Um, yeah, and they would do that based on for timing well, because those sequencers, it could be a single one, a double stack with that little disc inside that would heat up and go like that. I never liked sequencers, but I think that they were small. They could fit in those spaces, and they weren't as loud. Like you notice, even some of the newer Goodmans, and I'm not here shitting on Goodman, still use contactors, which contactors are relay, just a different kind. But if you ever listen to one of them, and when the heat kicks on and that contactor pulls in, it's like bam, it's loud as all hell. So yeah, there's a lot of them that still use sequencers. Um, I'm not a huge fan of them, but I mean, it's been around for forever. A lot of the communicating systems that we put in, regardless of brand, I like to use the communicating heat kit because most heat kits, when they come on at like, say you have a 15 kW, so you have three banks, it'll come on, all of them will come on and stay on until the call for heat satisfies. What I like about the communicating ones is, say I have a 15 kW and it's like, okay, I need a little help. It may have one bank come on for a little bit, help boost it up. Okay, maybe need a second bank. It'll come on, boost up the temperature, and then take itself off. So I really like the communicating heat kits. They cost a little bit more, but I mean, the people are paying for that, so it doesn't really matter. Breadboard. Yeah, so then Randy. I mean, and they work. They're just loud when they come on. Um, let's see. Jason said I still have double and triple stack sequencers in my stash of parts. Yeah, I mean, you almost have to because I mean, I we still run into them all the time. We keep them stocked on the trucks. So you still see them. I know you had some carriers would use those little, double pole, double throw relays or single pole, double throw, something like that. But a lot of times they would use this, yeah, motherfucker, I can sell, and I still forgot more than technically. So I'm just busting your balls. Um, but it's cool talking about this stuff sometimes, man. Just, and you forget, especially when you don't mess with things for a little bit. Just talking about it. Like the old Goodman, speaking of fan relays, the old Goodman fan relay boards, um, on the air handlers would always go bad. I can't tell you how many times I would go out to those things and that fucking board would always be bad. What do you mean, Pat? You just wired them to come on all the time? It was the good old days, man, and that's one good thing about the older stuff. Like, yeah, it wasn't very efficient, but I mean, you could fix it with the parts you had on your truck. Freon Leon, what's up, brother? Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, and that's the thing that I tell people. See, look at even him. He said I killed it this summer. I know what the fuck I'm doing, boy. I love the field. The field just doesn't pay as well. Um, electric furnaces 3 times. I figured I was just kidding with you. That's awesome, Zeke. I'm glad to see the young bucks. I was keeping up with them for a while, like talking to them, and then when all the bullshit I got going on, and and other stuff. I haven't been able to reach out to them, so I need to reach out to them just to see what's up. Make sure my young bucks still love me. But that's awesome. I'm glad to hear they're still killing it, man. Did I pay for that comment? Uh, I love teaching people and showing people how to do stuff because it makes you better, man. It really does. And I enjoy it. I feel like that's the way to give back to the trade. And not everybody wants to do it. Zeke pretty much was a sponsor over the summer. No lie. I had a blast doing that with Zeke's Young Bucks, man. It sucked to see it end, but it was, it was a good time. I had a blast doing that, hanging out over there on the show. Well, not really, but it is. If you're on this side, that's still considered the shore. So, yeah, so we were talking about, the sequence of operation when it comes to furnaces. So let's see, we're mostly heat pumps here and electric backup. What area are you in? No, that's true, Zeke. So I know some people that they are amazing technicians. They will fucking fix anything you put it in front of them, but they're not the best at explaining what they're doing to somebody else. And I don't know. I was born with a big mouth, so I've always been good at explaining. Well, let me rephrase that. I wasn't always good. I've gotten better at it over time, uh, to be able to explain it. And I don't know. I really enjoy teaching other people. It's just, it's a passion that I love doing. I think that's why how the podcast got created, and why how I've stuck with it for so long. Well, that's one of the things. Nova Scotia, Canada. Really? I thought you guys would have a bunch of 90% furnaces up there. So that's pretty neat to hear that you have a bunch of heat pumps with electric backup. Or I think you guys would have dual fuel stuff because I know in parts of Canada you can't put in 80% furnaces, right? I don't know about the best, but he's got sausage fingers. It's kind of hard. Freon, um, explain it in this. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. At first, I didn't know if you were asking a question. Got to explain it in the simplest way. Yeah, you got to explain it so it makes sense and somebody can, um, retain it. That's why I always believe there's got to be a little bit of like X's and O's mixed in with hands on, and I think I do that for everybody. So the book learning people get their side of it, and then the hands on people get their stuff too. Because when I was coming up, you could tell me how to do something a million times. I would remember what you were saying. But if you showed me, I would remember the first time. Where is this? No natural gas lines. We never run. Here. Oh, okay. That's cool to know, man. That's cool to learn. No, a bunch of granite, so no gas lines. Although heat pump technology, I mean, I still don't believe in the everybody going all electric. Thank God we have a change in government. Sorry. But the new heat pumps are like I get people think of the old heat pumps, the whole cool down effect, and you know, when I feel it, it's colder than it feels cold to me when it's just, it's colder than your body temperature. We all know this. Um, yeah, we can talk about propane conversions. Uh, but the new heat pumps, 2 houses ago, where I had two of the Carrier Infinity 25 VNA inverter heat pumps in my house, and you would have thought I had gas heat. It was always hot coming out, and it wasn't like I was using um, electric heat all the time. And yeah, it was good. I didn't do dual fuel at my house now, but I have a Lennox. I have the SL 280. So I have the 80% signature furnace, and then I have their EL. What is it? The EL 23 inverter outside for air conditioning. But yeah, if to me, if I tell people if you're gonna go heat pump, for the investment, especially with all the rebates they have now, I know rebates are good here and nationally. Um, they're good. To me, that's the only way to go. What do you mean? What the hell am I talking about? Oh, Jay, how do you install your mixing screw? No, I don't have the EL296. I didn't go with a 90% furnace when I first moved in, but the EL296 is a good furnace. There's actually a EL297 now as well. And then there's the SL, uh, what is it? Something 299 or something 99, 99% efficient furnace. Um, what the fuck is a mixing screw? Um, you know what? So every gas furnace has a mixing screw on it. But a lot of times in residential, I mean, it's a little different in some of the commercial applications, but um, normally when you have propane conversion, so if some of you out there don't know, is if you buy a gas furnace, then you get what's called a propane conversion kit. And normally, what you have to do in order to convert that to propane, um, and before we get into that, the reason that we have to convert it is because the gases are different. So normally, natural gas runs, it's going to be coming in like 7, 8 psi. I mean, 7, 8 inches of water column, and then on your manifold side is going to be 3.2, 3.5. 3.5 is kind of the standard, for a single stage. Whereas if you have propane, you should have 13 to 15 inches of water column coming in, and then 10 to 11 coming out. Propane is more volatile. It has more moisture in it. It'll soot up. It's got a lot more to it, and you have to make sure it's correct. Natural gas is a little bit more forgiving, but yes, you change it because you need to change the orifices that are in the burner. What actually shoots the gas into the burner? You have to change your orifices. You have to change the spring that is in the gas valve. So the tension of it, as far as what it's going to let out, you change the spring. Normally, there's a sticker that you'll see LP. So LP means propane, liquid petroleum. Um, and then also a lot of other brands. I know Lennox does it, Carrier does it. I'm not sure if Train does it. Mr. Zeke would know. They put in, it's called a low pressure gas valve thing that you put in line with your gas valve. That way, if somebody ever runs out of propane, that thing won't let it run. So let's see. If you don't install the mixing screw, the mixture is off and you will have issues. So that's not necessarily true on so that's yes and no, rookie. You're so some of them, yes. Some of them, no. Some manufacturers are different, but he does have a good point. So some of them do have what's called a mixing screw that you have to change on the burner. So you're opening, you're closing it, you're putting the screw in to be able to adjust the oxygen. So any combustion needs oxygen to burn. Um, just like, oil, natural, I mean, not natural gas, propane. A lot of times you need to get that correct so that you're getting the proper it's burning correctly. Your flame is a nice bright blue, and you're not wasting fuel. And one thing about propane, it will soot up, and if it starts to soot up, good luck. You're gonna be replacing that furnace. I have seen it was Carrier at the time because I was working for a factory authorized Carrier dealer. But we were on Carrier's website, so a lot of times we would get called to go out to fix other people's shit. And I can't tell you how many furnaces I saw that were 5 years and younger, and secondary heat exchangers were fucking clogged because somebody like didn't do a conversion kit, or they didn't do it correctly. They half-assed it and caused these people's stuff to soot up. And a lot of times we would get it covered under warranty. But if you had some asshole that you were dealing with, some rep, a lot of times they don't have to it. What's up, Sammy? I was wondering where you were, buddy. I was hoping you were coming. Good to see you, man. Hey, I actually started early tonight. All right. So Rookie couldn't bust my balls about that. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, nope. Zeke's right. Too low of gas pressure does kill him. Zeke, do they have that on train? That low pressure gas shut off? Yeah. Yeah, LPGV, LPGS they call it. Yeah, but also so people know if you're not familiar, propane that we use for heating, it doesn't it's they take out the chemical that makes it smell. So it doesn't smell like a propane grill. It's all good, buddy. Thank you for being here, Sam. I know I've had, I wasn't here last week because, before Thanksgiving and then missed some days, man. So I know people didn't know if I was going to be here or not. So it's all good, man. Thanks for showing up, buddy. Well, I'll get your guys' opinion. And I know that I've since changed, but I also used to think that like oil using the combustion analyzer made sense to me because you could adjust the oxygen and different things like that. In a lot of gas furnaces, there's not a lot of things that you could adjust, but I do think it is still good because you can actually see if you have a 96% efficient furnace, you can see if it's actually running at 96% efficiency. So even though there's not a lot of things you can change, you can still verify that that furnace is working efficiently and according to what it's supposed to be per the manufacturer. That somebody's not paying for this expensive furnace and it's not running that way. So I have since changed a little bit when it comes to the combustion analysis. Even though I've always done it, I've always had combustion analyzers. I mean, fuck, I sold two of them to Zeke. Girls. Uh, because they're hoping they're gonna find some that's gonna make a difference. I don't know. With your dumbass mayor, governor Newsom. That guy's a fucking moron. But anyway, I digress. Uh, so about heat pumps, what are some things you guys, shoot some stuff out, man. We can talk about whatever you guys want. Anything that I think people that listen to this after the fact are gonna get some lessons from. I know there's a lot of people that listen to this that are just starting out, so I want to provide them some of the basics, and we can go into deep stuff too. It doesn't matter. After Christmas, I'm going to sleeve out this arm too. I'm getting all tattooed up. I'm going to start working out too. Again, well, I am working out again. I'm going to try to get jacked. Yeah. Nobody said anything. So do I sound okay tonight? No issues with microphone? Let's see. In air conditioning in reverse. No more complicated than that. Very true. Heat pumps do have filter dryers, rookie. Yeah, we have heat pumps in Maryland, Sam. A lot of people don't realize that Maryland is considered the South region. So we go by the same thing as, the southern states as far as efficiencies and shit like that. So yeah, we can still have heat pumps. But yeah, heat pumps have filter dryers. They just have biflow filter dryers. So I know you're asking me a goofy question, rookie. That can't be serious, or I'm not reading it properly. Son of a bitch. Um, so the biggest thing is, especially young people out there, when you're just starting out, I want you to realize this, and it's going to sound stupid when I say it, that we don't, in air conditioning, we don't cool the air. We remove heat. So we'll use a heat pump, for example. In the most basic terms I can put this, in the summertime, we are absorbing heat inside. We're absorbing heat. Okay. The refrigerant is, changing state. It's boiling off. The refrigerant is there taking that heat that is absorbed. It's taking outside. It's condensing and dissipating that heat. It's rejecting it outside where we don't worry about it. Okay, so a heat pump, there's a reversing valve that switches the flow of refrigerant. So now the outdoor unit is our um, evaporator, and the indoor unit is now our condenser coil. Now we're absorbing heat outside, even though it gets cold. There's still heat molecules in the air. We're still absorbing heat. Plus, we have all of the mechanical heat that the compressor is doing or creating, and now we're putting that all inside, and now we're releasing it inside. The reason we have electric heat, especially with older heat pumps, is when it got really cold outside, they were not as efficient. They couldn't, produce enough heat to make people comfortable. So they put the electric heaters in just as a backup. All right. And they can run at the same time because the electric heat strips are below the coil. So it's, as it goes up, it's getting extra heat and going through the house. Then we also have what's called dual fuel, a gas furnace inside, a heat pump outside. So whether you like it or not, heat pumps are the most efficient source of heat there is. That's a fact, not an opinion. That's a fact. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's the most efficient source of heat there is. Um, if you have a dual fuel system, your heat pump outside and your gas furnace inside cannot run at the same time. All right. Think about what I said about a heat pump with electric heat. The electric heat strip can run the same time as the heat pump because the coil is under it. So we're using the heat from the coil is coming up, then mixing with the electric heat strips, and then going in. If we have a normal coil and the outdoor unit is running, and then we have the gas furnace, now all that heat from the gas furnace is going into the coil. It's going to shut off on head pressure every single time. So they run one at a time. Normally you set what is called a latch. Normally it's set to 35, 40 degrees, meaning that if your ambient temperature outside is above your latch, if it's above 35, 40 degrees, the heat pump will run. If it falls below your latch, the heat pump will shut off, the gas furnace will run. That is now your backup heat, but they do not run at the same time. And when it comes to a standard heat pump with electric heat, I get this question a lot too. Gil, what's the difference between emergency heat and auxiliary heat? And I'll tell you, it's very simple. Auxiliary heat is the way it is designed. Auxiliary heat means the heat pump is running with the electric heat running at the same time. Emergency heat is just the electric heat strips running. You should never do that. I know there's a bunch of people that think, Mr. HVAC Tactical, what is up, my brother? I like dual fuel too. Um, a lot of people tell customers, oh, when it gets, if it gets below 20, below freezing outside, you should just turn on emergency heat. That's bullshit. That is not true. Get whatever you can get out of the heat pump, and then let the electric heat go. You want to try to use the electric heat as least as possible, especially if it's not sized correctly. If it's oversized, that's just like a glorified toaster, and your fucking electric bill is going. Sammy, what'd you say? Did you talk about your hat today? Yeah. I did talk about this. So this is the new company that I am running. It's the new opportunity I said that I took. Um, it's been pretty cool, amazing people. So the name of the company is Super Tech HVAC Services. But very, very good. Yeah, as usual. Use the heat strips as a dehumidifier in conjunction with the cooling. Um, yeah, but when you get in residential, man, it gets too complicated. Lennox actually did some shit like that years ago, where they had like that reheat coil that you see in like you guys, commercial guys know if you see like pool units and stuff like that, hot gas bypass, and you have the reheat coil in front of it to be able to cool it, but then also control humidity. And when Lennox did that in the residential part, it was just a bunch of bullshit. It never worked properly. I'm not a super tech. You're the commercial guy. I'm just a lonely residential guy, man. I don't know half of what you guys know. I work on baby stuff. Um, yeah, right. It was funny in the beginning. I said, I don't believe there's no such thing as a super tech, regardless of the hat I'm wearing. Make sure I didn't miss some of these questions. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. 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 Guys, giving some good information in here. Bum, bum, bum. And a lot of times people get mixed up when it comes to heat pumps. So something as dumb as heat pumps. Um, I love you too, rookie. Uh, you son of a bitch. Um, damn it! Now I forgot what I was gonna say. Way to mess me up, rookie. You're supposed to be help guiding me. Shit, I forgot where I was gonna say there for a second. Ba, 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 ba. Um, I don't know. If I remember, I'll try to spit it out there. Um, Obviously, please, anybody, please put questions there if you would like to. Be more than happy to answer them. Uh, no, that makes sense, Jason. So Jason said we run heat strips on SCRs in commercial. It gives you modulating heat. And I guess that makes sense more in a commercial application and residential, probably not as much. At least I don't think so. Um, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Heat pumps. Still waiting on an answer. Why don't mini splits have dryers? Because there's not a true liquid line. That's why. Both of them are mixed. So there is no true suction and there is no true liquid line. That's why you don't have filter dryers. New guys don't bypass heat safeties only for testing. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Even though some mini splits have the little pencil dryer that is on the compressor, but yeah, there's no true liquid line. So that's why you don't have a filter dryer on those. It's also why the metering device is in the outdoor unit. See, I know a thing or two, rookie. Son of a bitch. I've also read Mr. Craig Migliaccio's mini split book as well as his regular book, which I highly suggest. If nobody has that, you should get that book. They're amazing books. That's Mr. AC Service Tech, Craig Migliaccio. Amazing channel. If there's anything that you want to learn about the residential HVAC game, trust me, he's got a video for it, as well as many others. But, I love Mr. Craig, amazing human being. and his books were awesome. So you should get those. Yes, obviously, unless it's VRF. Mini splits aren't real units. They're like unicorns, Pat. I know. They're not real. It's like, you know, fucking a pocket pussy. I probably shouldn't have said that. Damn it. We'll edit that out. I'm using bad words. I'm sorry. VRFs using reheat coils. What about VRFs using reheat coils? What do you mean, rookie? I was reading other comments, so I'm sorry, buddy. What do you mean? What about VRFs using reheat coils? Do they have liquid line dryers? What do you make sure I'm getting the question correct? 10 pounds of shit in a 5 pound bag. Yeah, that's for damn sure. And I hate a lot of them. What pissed me off about a lot of mini split um manufacturers is I hate it when the boards are flipped upside down. And then if you have to replace a control board on the outdoor unit, they don't give you the thermal paste that goes with it. And sometimes trying to find that shit is easier said than done. I work in the field. I just don't make videos of it, motherfucker. Can I explain what? How? So, yeah. So, VRF, variable refrigerant flow. So, what's good about them is you see them in a lot of commercial aspects, office buildings, stuff like that. It's a lot of new technology where, normal, residential mini splits. And even if so, normally you can have up to 5 indoor heads on one outdoor unit. That's the max. Um, most of the brands that I know. Um, all of them have to be running in the same thing. So if one is on air conditioning, they're all running in air conditioning. If one's in heat, they're all running in heat. Whereas VRF, you can actually have one in heating and one in cooling. Because think about what we said earlier. We don't cool the air, we remove the heat. So if we're cooling this space, we can be the heat we're removing from this one, we can be taking to another one. So that is kind of VRF in a nutshell. Then you have things called branch boxes and all different kinds of things. But I don't want to go too deep to make it where somebody it's gonna seem overwhelming. But that's what VRF is, variable refrigerant flow. Is that good enough, rookie? You want me to write a fucking essay on it or? Oh, okay. So just so everybody audio wise, if you can't see, obviously you guys can see the comments. Mr. Jason Johnson said, according to what I just said with the VRF, not with heat recovery, a heat pump, it's one or the other. And to be honest, I haven't touched a lot of VRF stuff in a little bit. I had a job like 2 years ago that I was going to sell, and we ended up not throwing out tech words. We're actually Diamond Mitsubishi dealers here at SuperTech. We have it's nothing crazy. 2-to-1 going in a residential application tomorrow. I'll ask you guys this because I do think that Mitsubishi is the best, hands down, when it comes to ductless technology. But a lot of times I didn't always sell them because they do cost more. And most customers aren't buying the crazy efficient ones. They just want the technology because that's all they can get. They can't run duct work, yada, yada, yada. So a lot of times I would put in like, the Daikin ones or something like that. If people are only getting like, 20 SEER or whatever it is. But if somebody said, hey, I want the best, I want the best of the best. I want a really high SEER. Then I would always say to go with Mitsubishi. VAV box. Fan in the ceiling with heat strips. LOL. No, you didn't. You said VRF up there, not VAV. I'll be honest with you. I didn't do a lot with the VAVs. Yeah, I don't see them as much as I used to. I did a couple cool jobs, and like I said, when I was at still at Beltway, probably like 2.5 years ago, we had a job that um a commercial building that we were going to sell, and it was going to be VRF, and I was pretty excited, but it ended up not happening. Okay, I see it, rookie. I see it. What about um and I'll be honest, I don't have a bunch of experience. I mean, I could figure it out, but I didn't do a bunch of the VRVs with recoils. So if anybody would like to explain it in the comments, I'd be more than happy to read it out. But I haven't messed with one of those, so I don't want to sit here and trip over myself. I'm man enough to admit if I'm not good at something. Ah, Mr. Coles, don't give that bastard your money, Pat. They're not, I mean, they're not bad systems. I'm just busting balls. I just hate it when homeowners buy them, fuck it up, and then try to call a company. I'm KC, what's up, man? So if a lot of people don't know, I left Beltway over the summer. I walked away. Um, Really, it was more personal. Um, Ended up not working out, but I walked away, and then I did some coaching for Mr. Zeke Warner and here for his company, and helped train two of his young techs who are absolutely killing it now. Two amazing dudes, and I just took some time off, to be quite honest with you. And I wasn't really planning on doing anything. And then uh, I had an offer come that was kind of too good to say no as far as money, the opportunity. And they bought me a brand new 2024 Ford F 150. So I'm not a huge Ford guy, but the truck's awesome and it's free. So I'm good. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, is it really? So VAV is the same thing. Oh, VR. Okay, VAV, VRV. I see. I see. I see it. Platinum, Mr. Cool Fellow. Hey, man, rock out with your cock out, buddy. Well, just trying to help. Oh no, it's all good, rookie. I appreciate it. We're commercial text, not resi. Go fuck yourself. Okay. Hey, I just said I'm not a Ford guy. And it originally started because we were gonna buy two vans, two of the Ford Transit mid roofs, and I negotiated the deal all together. Um, and we ended up getting a really good deal, so I took it, and we got like a nicer one. Like it's got the the 5.0 V8 in it and shit like that. So it's nice. But if I had to pick one, I would have went with Chevy or Dodge. Obviously, I like um uh the Dodge Rams, but like I said, bakers can't be choosers. I mean, it was a 60 something $1,000 truck. It's not no base model, so I'll be okay. Even though I am my 2024 Chevy Suburban, I'm gonna rig that out. I think I'm gonna lift it up a little bit and put some bigger tires on it. I'm gonna do something for myself. Yeah, man, hour did go by fast, but I enjoy this, man. Like I really like this episode. I think we covered some good topics. Somebody listening can have a good time or learn something from it if they're a young guy. So I want to get back to doing some more of these episodes where it's just me. And To be honest, sometimes these episodes do way more downloads than the ones where I have somebody coming on talking about fucking God knows what. So I've canceled a lot of those shows. Doolies. Mm. All right, guys, I'm going to close this out here in a little bit, but please, if you guys got anything you want to throw in there before I close this out, more than happy to cover it. I thank all of you for being here. I appreciate it. So I will be here every Wednesday night moving forward. Um, you know, they're mine too, Jason. I love these episodes. And I like having guests sometimes. I like to have a different things of topics. I like to learn, um, let people know about some of the different stuff that's out there. But some of them are getting a little, they're not fun. So I want to get back to doing more of these, and maybe it's, you know, normally 4 weeks in a month. If I do two like this and then two with guest, maybe something like that. But I'm gonna try to get to where I'm not doing just all guest. Got to fix my Xbox. Well, thanks for coming, Pat. I appreciate it. I am gonna close this out because I want to make sure I go. Make get to say goodnight to my daughters. Obviously, my daughters, me and my wife talk to my daughters so they know what's going on, and want to make sure that they're good and they get their quality time with daddy because they're one of the most, you know, they are the most important thing to me right now. My kids in general, so I want to make sure that they're good. So let's see next week how to avoid Big Bob in prison. We can talk about that. Yeah, you gotta sew your butt cheeks together, but we'll get into that. We're gonna have the sequence of operations for not getting gang raped in prison by Big Bob. So Freon Leon called it. That is going to be the next episode, and that is we will cover that. Another thing, man, and I know you guys bust my balls, and deservingly I should. Especially when you do giveaways and shit doesn't get shipped out. I'm not gonna sit here and make excuses, man. There's been so many dumb fucking things that have went on, but I do have everything together, playing catch up. There was a whole bunch of issues that I'm not gonna get into. It is what it is. But Freon, Leon, Sam, and then there's some other things that I got to get for other people. Um, I have them all in my truck, and I'm gonna get them done. There's actually a UPS store that is right next to the new company that I'm at, so I got all the stuff located, um, and I'm gonna get that done. So thank you guys so much for bearing with me, man. And like I said, when you guys make comments and bust my balls, I don't get mad because I deserve it. So I just want to let you guys know that that stuff is coming, and can't apologize enough for it taking so long, man. I'm really, really sorry. Um, but yeah, with that being said, I'm going to close this out, man. Thank all of you guys for being here tonight, man. I really appreciate it. I'm happy to get back on these Wednesday shows. Like I always say, man, I love podcasting. I love talking to all you guys. This is my therapy. And when I don't do it, it just puts me in a weird funk. And when I have other things going on, it just it makes it even worse. So I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be here. And I think I just broke my vape. Fuck. But yeah, hold on. I'm gonna grab this piece. Yeah, okay. Wasn't as bad as I thought it was. There we go. Um, Yeah. Guys, remember to please download the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you follow me on all the social media sites and stay up to date on everything that I have going on. Um, if you guys could spread the word, if you haven't, if you have, do it again, please. Leave me a 5-star review wherever you get your audio podcast. I want to try to get those reviews up. It just gets it out to more people. So if you guys could do that for me, it would be greatly appreciated. Um, yeah, and with that being said, man, let's go ahead and start closing this mofo out. Guys, remember to keep your head on a swivel. I want you to be safe out there. I want you to make it home the same way that you left. I don't care if you're driving, whatever it is, man. Driving today, people are fucking crazy. So I don't care how good of a driver you are, you got to worry about the other knuckleheads on the road. So please be careful, pay attention, make sure the breaker's turned off. Like all those little things where, just please take care of yourself. I don't want to see anything happen to any of my HVAC brothers and sisters out there that could have been avoided. Okay. So please, please be careful. Um, do the little things, set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. Um, Give back to the trade, man, and be the best version of you. All right. Don't half ass things. Um, keep getting yourself better, keep learning. There's always something to do. All right. Um, and if you're good at what you do, help the people around you, man. Like that's why I love doing it. You see the impact, and it's almost like a child. Even if it's a person, when you show them stuff and you see them thrive and they have the aha moment, it's an awesome feeling. It's so rewarding. And I love that. That's why I love to teach other people. At the same time, it makes me better, So do those little things and make yourself better. But with that being said, I love you, mofos. Until next Wednesday, have a great week. Stay safe. And I love you. All right. See ya. Oh, and thank you to all of everybody that came here tonight. Thank you to all of my moderators. I appreciate you guys so much. And I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. All right.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsor.